Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Natty the Coder. And today's lecture we're going to be talking about developer tools in React Query. What is that and how the React Query actually works behind the scenes. We'll also give some design touch to our application and we'll make it a little bit look nicer. Let's just dive into the lecture. So as you can see over here, this is the older application, but I made a few modifications into it. I'll just show you the UI first. So you can see this is now our homepage. I added this small navigation bar. And I also added some posts link over here. I added the user link and then we have the home. When I click on the post, you can see we have the hard-coded post over here. And also on the users, we have some users over here. And on the posts, when I click on the read more, you can see the post itself. And then we'll have some comments. So for each post, we'll have some comments. So now this data is static and hard-coded actually, so let's just make it dynamic. Before working on fetching the data, let's just go through the folder structure and see what are the components that I created and added over here. First thing first, I added the router and I created some custom routes over here. You can look into the component and you can see that I have the navigation bar over here, and then I created some routes that on the best path it will just give me the home page. A component basically that is that it won't take and there's nothing much, and then on the posts it will give me the post component, and then on the users path it will give me the users component, and also I have specific details, post details, which will give me the post details component. And you can see over here we need to pass the ID dynamically. So if you're not familiar with the React Router DOM and how the React Routers works, so don't worry, you can watch my React.js tutorial on that and you'll get to know how it really works. On the components folder, you can see that I have 3 folders over here and 1 navigation bar file. You can see I have been using this Tailwind CSS. I'm using the classes from Tailwind CSS, and I created this small simple navigation bar. And then I have the users folder where I'm keeping the users functional component. And then in the posts, I have the post component, which gives access to the post, every single post. And then we have a single post over here that is basically hard-coded. And then we have this link. When I click it, it gets me to the post, and I read the post detail actually. And in here, I'm accessing the comments over here. So the post details, and then I'm accessing the comments. So the comments will give me this. So I'll list all of the comments over here, and then for each and then in the comment section we have a separate component access that's called comment, and you can see the comments detail, the comment detail over here, which is basically the name of the comment, the email, and all of this. If you're wondering where this data is coming from, so when I get to the JSON placeholder, you can see different posts and then you can see comments. So for each post we have comments, you can see over here. For posts we have many comments, and albums have photos, but we're not going to be making use of the posts. So if I go to a specific post over here, for example, and then I go to the comments, then you can see we have the comments over here like this, or we can pass the post ID as a query param over here as well. We can make use of either of them. So yeah, this is how it works. And also I made use of the Tailwind CSS. I copied the navigation bar from here, and you can also get a lot of components from here. So yeah, just to make it simple and quicker, I just copied all of this and already did the job for you guys. So yeah, let's just go to the posts and make it dynamic. So first thing first, what I'll do is I'll get the posts from here. So you can see this is the endpoint. I'll copy that, and you can see we have 100 posts over here. And then I'll go to the code section over here. What I'll do over here is basically on this component, I'll create a custom hook that will get us all of the posts. So for example, I'll name it use posts, and then I'll just do this. And here, I'll create a variable. I'll basically destructure it from use query. And the first parameter it takes is basically the key. So basically on this key, it will store the data. So you can think of the key as if you are familiar with the states or Redux, there's basically a global object that is stored on the application itself, and you create the keys, and on that specific key you're storing some data. So basically what we are telling you the React query is basically we are passing this key and we are telling them whatever data that's coming from the API, just store it on this key. So basically so when I make this call, I'm going to be using axios.get over here, and I'm going to be making a request with this endpoint, which has the post, and I'll get the post. So later on, when, for example, I'm making another request using the use posts, so if the data already exists on the post key, then it won't make a request, but instead it will return the cache data. We will also look into this, that how the React query caches the data and for how long the cache data stays there on the React query, and how can we invalidate the cache data. So yeah, we'll look into that later. But before going there, I'll also do return the response.data, because Axios return data response as a response.data, and then I'll have access to the actual data. So over here, I'll destructure a few properties that are basically the data, and then I'll destructure the error if there's any, and also the isLoading state, and also the isError state. And simply from here, I'll return all of these. So the data will basically be the posts, and then we'll get the error. I'll typecast it to error, and then isLoading, and then isError. So yeah, that makes sense. As a third parameter over here, you can see this is the first parameter, this is the second parameter to the use query. The third parameter that I'll pass is basically the configuration, and I want to make retries, but only 3 of them. By default there are 3 as well, but yeah, just for the sake of understanding. And also I'll do refetch on window focus to false. I don't want to refetch the data on window focus, so I don't want to make, redundant calls and all that. And that's it. And once I use the use post over here, I can destructure all of the data from there. Use post, okay, and I'll just destructure isLoading, and also I'll destructure isError. So first thing first, we will just handle these, and if isLoading, if the data is loading or the request is made and we don't have the data yet, so in that step we want to return a loading icon. So I'm going to be using a loader that's basically an SVG component that I created. So it's basically a loader that shows a loading icon instead of just the text. So in order to access it, I'll just create a div just to unwrap it and make it centered. So I'll just do flex and flex, so justify center, and then I'll give it a margin y, yeah, on the y axis I'll give it a margin of 4, and then in here I'll access the loader, and that's it. So if the data is loading over here, then we'll see the loader icon, and if we have any error, then we will do something like we can return a simple message, or we can simply do h3 and we will show the message over here. Basically, so we will do error, and then we can print out the error.message. So this will show us the message, the error message. And after that, I'll just print out the posts from in the console log just to make sure we get them. I'll save this and I'll refresh the page. So you can see when I refresh the page, you see a small glitch of that loader over here. And when I inspect it and go to the console, you can see the object. We're getting the 100 posts over here. I'll close it, and before going further, I'll show you what this little icon is. So I'll go to the code base and I'll go to the source file, and on the index file, I'll show you how to access the React Query developer tools. So all you have to do is just import a React Query developer tools from here, from this directory, DevTools, and then you can pass these properties that initial is open is false. So by default, it won't be opened. You will have to click that icon in order to open the developer tools, and also you can specify the position. So you have 4 positions over here that you can choose from. I already chose the first one, so basically it will be shown on the left side. And for example, if I go to the home page, I'll refresh it, and you can see that we have no data over here. But once I redirect to the post, you can see that I have the post key now, and based on this post, I'll have some data. So when I click it, you can see that I have this data stored on this key, basically. And you can see that these are the post data. You have the title, body, and everything. So this is basically coming from the API itself. You can refetch it and validate it, and you can see different options over here, like the retry, refetch, or run window. And you can see the query key. So this is basically the specific key for that query. And you can also see the query hash and all that. You have the default options, you have the observer, the cache. Yep, so you can see all of these information over here and the developer tools. For now, I'll close it, and let's just make the posts dynamic. So since we're getting the posts over here, what we can do is simply I'll loop through these posts, and I can do something like this: post.map, post.map. And in here, I can simply return the post. Or in order to make it more cleaner, I can simply do this. I don't want to write the return statement over here. So I can just make it more cleaner. And I'll enwrap it in here as well. And I need to pass the post itself. And also I use the post.id as a key. But here you can do this. The key should be the post.id, and then I can also pass post as an attribute to the post component. But in order to make it work, we need to accept the post, because we're not accepting it from here. So basically I have to create an interface for that as a TypeScript. So over here I can create an interface, and I can call it props for now. And the post, I'm getting a post that is a type of post, and I can create another type for this. I can do interface, or I can even create a type. Post equals this, and it should have an ID, it should have a title, it should have a body, since we are just putting the title, description, and then the read more, and then the post ID basically. So I think that's all. And we can also do this. Props should be of type props already. What is the error? Post is already defined. Okay, sorry. So post type, we can just rename it to this, and we'll do this. And in here, we can say post dot title, sorry, props dot post dot title, and I'll get rid of this hard-coded data, and I'll call it props dot post dot body. And in here, it's fine. And also, I'll replace this ID by props dot post dot ID. So yeah, this is fine now, and you can see that it's complaining about the type over here. I don't need this anymore, so I'll just typecast it as well, and I'll call it post type. I'll import it from the post itself. So yeah, the error is now gone. When I save this, I'll save this as well. And you can see now we have dynamic posts over here. You can see all of the 100 posts over here. Looks beautiful. So when I go back here and I come back, you see the data is there. When I refresh, when I go back, refresh, what I'll do is I'll just, for testing the loader, I will just go to the network tab and I'll make it slow 3G. Okay, and I'll refresh this. Yeah, we have the home page over here. When I go to the post, you can see the loader icon. It's loading the data, and once it's loading, when the loading is done, you can see all of this beautiful posts over here. So now when I go back to the home page, so before going to the home page, we can check that we have the posts over here. Okay, and you can see all of this data over here. But when I close this and I go to home page and then come back to the post, you didn't see the loader icon because it's basically caching the data. It's getting the data from the cache itself. So that's why we are not seeing the loader itself again. So when I go back again and I come back again, you can see that we are directly seeing the data because the data is loaded once and it's kept in the cache, and it will be kept for around, I think, 30,000 milliseconds, 300,000 milliseconds, which is around 30 minutes. So for 30 minutes, the data will be kept in the cache. But this is how React Query basically caches the data. Now what I want is when I go to any of this post, it will show me the ID of the post over here. And you can see this is posted by someone, but this is not dynamic actually. When I go here, it still shows me the static data. So yeah, let's just make it dynamic as well. So when I go to the post and when I click this, it should get me to the post details, and it does this. So in here, I want to create another custom hook where we can get the post itself and also the comments for that. So in order to do that, I'll simply do use post, and I'll get the ID for that. But before doing that, I'll do the same thing over here and I'll use the use query. But in here, I'll just import it first, import it from React Query. And for the post itself, I'll do the post. But here I don't want to just pass a post because I don't want to use the same key post for all of the posts. So in order to do that, I need to pass the ID as well, just to make it unique for every post. So if I want to cache each individual post, and if I use this one key and I don't use the post ID with this, then it will override the same post key with each of the posts. That's what I don't want. So in order to do that, I'll simply have to pass the ID, which I'll be getting from the route itself, which is basically, you can see from here. So that is basically the post ID that I want to pass and get the post details from. And also in here, I want to make a call using this Axios. I'll import the Axios and I'll make the call to the post. But now this time I'm passing the ID as well. And also I don't want to retry more than 3. And also I don't want to refetch on window focus. And the same thing over here, I'll just destructure the data. I'll also destructure the error is error and is loading over here. So yeah, and also I can return the same data from this hook. So you can see the post data and then the error and the is loading and is error. But before going there, what I can do is I have to get the ID from the path over here. For that, I can simply make use of params. I can simply make use of use params, and then this would be of type ID, which is basically a string. just for typecasting, and then I'll say params.id, and it will give me the ID that I'm passing in a path, and I can make use of this as well. And simply I'll do this. All right, so I don't need to pass the loader over here. I can simply do if it's loading, then do this. All right, and also import the loader, and if I have any error, then just return the error and close the H3, and also I'll import the error. If I don't have any error and it's not loading, then just console log the post for now. But first I need to import or destructure it from here. Now we will have the post over here. I have some error over here. That is basically here. Okay, I need to pass it here as well, params.id, and I'll save this. I'll go to the post. You can see all of the posts now. The request is made, and when I go to, for example, this page, I should be getting the console message, but I'll just check first the network, and you can see I made successful. I'll call to this endpoint, and I can see the data from here. And also if I go to the console, you can see that I'm getting the data. Also, if I open the React Developer Tools, now you can see that we have post, and we have post 1 over here. And for post 1, I have this data. When I clean it, when I close it, I'll go to the home page, I'll refresh. When I go to the post again, I'll open this. You can see in the React Developer Tool, I have data for post 1. Also, if I go back and open this one, I have data for post 2 as well now. And you can see the data over here. And also the cache time and everything is the same. And also you are seeing the message in the console log. So yeah, this is how it works. Now we need to make it dynamic and show the post dynamic. I'll have to do something like this. I'll remove the console log message. And in here, I'll do post.id, and also post.title, and in here I'll have to get rid of this and post.body. Save it again. When I refresh, let's just refresh the page, and you can see the post dynamically. Now you can see this post. When I go back and just look at the title, when I click this, you can see posted by this. So you can see the exact title, and also you can see the exact description. We are seeing the details of our post dynamically now. Now let's just also grab the comments. So we have two options now. We can actually grab the comments from within here, or we can also grab the comments from within the component. But for now, we need to pass the ID of the post. So for which post we want to get the comments. So actually we need to pass the post ID, and that is basically the post.id. And since the comments is not accepting any properties for now, so we'll create an interface. We'll call it props, and the post ID is basically a post ID, and props is basically this props of type prop. In here, what we can do is we can also make a custom hook over here. We'll say use comments, so it will get us, or we can say use comments or use get comments, whatever makes sense to you guys. and also I would accept an ID and here, and also I'll make use of the use query over here just to get our data. And here, since we are using the since we're grabbing the comments, so I'll just pass the comments key. Since we are getting comments for different posts, then we cannot just name it comments. We also have to pass another property that's basically the ID, just to make it more unique, just to make the key more unique. And also we have to make the callback over here, and then we can make a call to this just a placeholder, and the comments we want to get comments for which post. So basically we're passing the post ID, which is basically this ID, and also we are doing this response and response.data. That's correct. We need to import Axios, and that's all. Just quick configuration, 3 retries with no refresh on Windows. And also we are grabbing the data, we're grabbing the error, we're grabbing the is loading, and also the is error, and we will return it from here like this. Comments will be the data and also the error and all that. So we have to use it over here, constant, like this, and I'll just pass the props.post ID because we're passing the post ID from here, and we're saying for which post I want to get the comment. So basically we have to pass it to this use comment hook, and it will be passed to this API further. So we can either do this prop drilling, we can pass the props, the post ID over here, or we also have another option of getting the parameters directly from here. Whatever is more you're more comfortable with, but I'll do it this way. And also I'll get the data from here. So now I'll again check for is loading. If the component is loading, then just show the loader over here. I'll import the loader component, and also if I have any error, then I'll just show the error message in H3. Otherwise I'll just console log the comments. I'll save it, I'll refresh the page, and you can see when it is loaded, you'll see all of the comments over here for the specific post. When I go to the React developer tools, you can see that we have now the post one, okay, but now you can see that we don't have the previous posts, we don't have the posts key, but just the post, the specific post. And for this post we are getting the comments. So you can see we have five comments over here. We have the name, email, and body, and we have this specific post. And you can also see the post ID over here, so for which posts we are grabbing the comment. So yeah, let's just make the comments section dynamic and load all of the comments. So we can just pass the comments like this. And also I want to show the comments count, so I can simply do comments, so it will work. And also, since the comment section is not accepting anything, I'll create an interface. Sorry, this is basically the comment and not the comments. So I'll just do loop through this comments comments.map. It's basically the comment, and also I'll just return this comment. I need to pass the key here. So key is basically the comment.key, sorry, comment.id. So we can actually see it from here. When I make a request, you can see each comment has its own ID. So let me just quickly create the interface. So name, email, body, and ID. So the comment is basically of type. Here I have the props, and then I have export type, I'll call it comment, and it has ID, and then it has name, it has email, it has body, yeah, and then it is accepting a comment, and that is of type comment type, just to make it different from the component name. And then over here it will get this, and I'll also just replace it quickly with the data props.comment.name, and then I'll replace it with the email over here, props.comment.email, and also the body props.comment.body. So yeah, and also over here I need to pass the comment itself. That's basically this comment, and this comment is of type comment type. So yeah, I'm importing this comment type from the comment component itself, and I'll also save this. So when I go to the React application, now you can see that we are getting the comments dynamically. So you can see all of those comments. Let's just make it more beautiful. When I go to the posts, you can see all of the beautiful posts over here. I can read more, click this, and you can see we are getting this posted by user number 6. This is the title, this is the description, and now we are getting the comments. You can see Russell Parker and this different emails and the titles, the names and the descriptions. And if I want to check it, for example, this is number 17, post number 17, you can see the loader icon over here, and then you are seeing the comments. So you can see different emails and everything. So it means the data is loaded dynamically. So now when I open the React Developer Tools, you can see posts just specifically for the 17, and then comments for 17. So it's already cached over here. So if I go back to the posts, you can see the cache data is still there, but now we have another key that's called post, because the posts were not loaded before. So now they're loaded. And when I go to the first post, another key will be added, that's basically post 1, and even for that post we are loading the comments over here. So that's why you are seeing the comment section over here. I can just make it smaller. Yeah, so you can see that for post 1 we are getting the comments, and also for post number 17 we're getting the comments. When I go back to the post, you can see the posts are not loaded again, but read from the cache. And if I go to post number 2, you can see that post number 2 is added, and then after that comments are loaded. So yeah, this is how actually the React caches works. And we can also reduce the cache time if you want to reduce the cache time, so it will be refetched automatically for you. So I'll just go to the home page, clear it, and I'll go to the network tab. All right, and let's say the posts, all of the posts, I want to make the cache time just 2 milliseconds, so basically 2 seconds. I'll clear this. You can see we don't have any data. When I go to the post, first request is made, and now we have the cache data over here. So when I go back to home, so after 2 seconds you see the posts are gone. When I come back, you see the posts are now here. But when I go to home page again, you can see after 2 seconds the post cache is invalidated. If I make it, for example, 10 seconds, so 10,000 milliseconds, and I refresh the page, when I go to the posts, you can see now I have the posts. And when I go to home, so for 10 seconds the posts will stay there, and after 10 seconds it will be gone. So yeah, you can see that this is how basically the cache is invalidated. So you can decide for how long you want to cache your data, and then after that the cache will be cleared. So if I don't put it here, So by default, the cache time is 30 minutes. So let's see that when I do this and when I go to the post, when I click the post, you'll see the cache time over here. I'll just put the data over here. So now you can see the cache time is overridden and it's just 10 seconds. And when I get rid of the cache time, then you would be able to see that the cache time is different in this case now. It's 30 minutes now, so it's 300,000 milliseconds. So it's basically 30 minutes. So for 30 minutes, the state will be there. Even if I go to the home page, and until 30 minutes, the data will stay there and the post. And if I come back again, still it will read it from the post itself. So yeah, I hope that you have learned something new from this lecture, and you would have known by now how we can make up the use query, and how we can apply different parameters, and how we can get the use query caches the data. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comment section, and I'll reach out to your questions. And until then, I'll see you in the next lecture.